$300 a month. That's the best case cash flow on a $500,000 rental property. Real property, real mortgage, real taxes. I'm going to show you exactly where that number comes from. And then I'm going to show you what the same investment does in a completely different model. I've been doing Airbnb arbitrage for 3 years. I run 186 units right now. March 2025 was my first $1.12 million month. March 2026, I generated $1.12 million again in a single month. And I did all of that while buying a single property. And before I found this model, I thought the only way to get into real estate was to purchase a property, put 20% down, rent it long term, and make a couple $100s a month. That's what everyone says to do. So I ran the numbers, and this is what I found. By the end of this, you'll know which path gives you more cash flow, which one gives you a better return on your money, and which one I actually chose and why. Let's get into this. Alright, so I'm on Redfin right now, and as you can see, we are looking at this property in Dallas, Texas, and it's pretty much $500,000, and it's on sale right now. 3 bed, 3 bath, 2.6K square foot. And based off the photos, if this is fairly new or just well taken care of. Look at the photos, pretty new property. Alright. Let's scroll down a little bit. You see that actually it's built in 2021. So it's actually built within the last 5 years. So it's a pretty brand new construction. And it also says right here on the top left actually on Redfin. And then now let's go to the calculator to see how much it actually costs to buy this property and how much it'll cost to pay every month. All right, scroll down and you see this payment calculator. Of course, it's just an estimate, but assuming that we have a 20% traditional loan, 20% down, home price about $500,000, we need about $100,000 for down payment, and 30-year fix at 6.5%. And then for property taxes, for Texas, I believe it's about 2 to 2.5%. Let's just say for this estimate, it's 2.25 for property taxes. And home insurance, we could just leave it as is. So basically, to get this property, about $100,000 down payment, and let's assume a 3% closing cost, another $15,000 give or take. So all in, it'll be $115,000 just to purchase this property. And then once we purchase the property, we have to pay about $3.8K a month for principal and interest, property taxes, and home insurance. All right, and then that's before we can even rent out the property or even make money. So how much does this property actually make if we are going to invest $115,000 into this? You own a $500,000 house in Dallas. You're paying about $3,800 a month. You need a tenant. Now, I'm gonna give this best case scenario. Perfect tenant, pays every month, no vacancies, nothing breaks, 0 issues. Let's say you rent it out and you make $300 a month in profit. $300 a month, that's the ceiling. Assuming no problems, that's the best case scenario. Is $300 a month going to change your life? Is it going to replace your income? Get you out of your 9 to 5? You already know the answer. And here's the other problem. How long until you can buy the next one? You're only making $3,600 a year. The next property needs another 6 figures. At that pace, you're looking at a decade. You're not building wealth at $300 a month. You're barely moving. And that's the best case. And it gets worse. That $300 a month is before anything even goes wrong. 1 month with no tenant, and you just wiped out 10 months of profit. One repair, AC, appliance, anything, and more of that cushion is gone. A major repair, like a roof, and you can spend years just getting back to 0. Long-term rental is not a cash flow strategy. It's a hope strategy. You hope nothing breaks. You hope the tenant pays. You hope everything stays perfect. And even when it does, $300 a month isn't moving the needle. Not in a high cost of living city. Not anywhere you're actually trying to get ahead. Put that in terms of an actual return on your money, and here's the number. $300 a month. Multiply that by 12. That's $3,600 a year. $3,600 divided by $115,000. That's a 3.1% cash on cash return. 3%. Best case, no vacancy, no repairs. You get close to that return in a high yield savings account. Now, here's what the same $115,000 does in a completely different model. Before I get into arbitrage numbers, I've put together a simple arbitrage calculator. You plug in your property projections and your estimated costs, and it shows you your projected monthly cash flow and cash on cash return. If you want it, just DM me the word calculator on Instagram and I'll send it over. Now, let me show you the other side of this map. With arbitrage, I'm not buying. I'm leasing a property from a landlord, furnishing it, and putting it on Airbnb. I pay the agreed rent, and guests pay me, then I keep the spread. Here's what the same $150,000 looks like in this model. At $23,000 a unit, you can properly set up and furnish a house. That's 5 units. Now here are the 3 scenarios. Conservative, each unit can make $2,500 a month net after all expenses. With 5 units, that's $12,500 a month. Middle case, $3,000 per unit, $15,000 a month. Best case, $3,500 per unit, $17,500 a month. Cash on cash return on that $115,000. Conservative, 130%. Middle case, 156%. Best case, 183%. Compare that to 3.1%. Even the floor here, the most conservative number, is 42 times better than the best case buying scenario. Same money, very different result. Let me put this directly side by side. Buying $115,000 to start, $300 a month best case, $3,600 a year. That's a 3.1% cash on cash. One property, one income stream, one problem away from zero. Arbitrage, $115,000 all in. Conservatively, that's $12,500 a month, $150,000 a year, and 130% cash on cash. That's 5 income streams. And if one unit has a slow month, the other 4 make up for it. Now I know the next thought. But Kevin, what about the appreciation? The house goes up in value. It does. The national average is about 3 to 4% a year. On a $500,000 house, that's roughly $15,000 in added value on paper every year. But you can't spend that equity. It doesn't cover your mortgage next month. It doesn't replace your income. It doesn't help you quit your job. You can't do anything with that equity until you sell or refinance. And the whole time you're waiting, you're still covering those expenses every single month, regardless of what the market does. Here's how I actually think about this. Before I found arbitrage, I thought buying was the only path. Put money down, make a couple $100s a month, maybe buy another one in 10 years if everything goes right. That didn't feel like a way to get ahead. It felt like a slow lane with a lot of risk attached to it. Arbitrage was different. Same capital, real cash flow every month. And it scales faster because you're not tying up to $115,000 in one asset every time you want to add a unit. Here's a move I think that makes sense. Arbitrage first, build the cash flow. Then use the cash to buy real estate. And when you buy, run it as a short-term rental instead of a long-term. Now you have more cash flow, depreciation, and equity all working together. That's a whole separate video, but the point is, arbitrage is a vehicle that gets you there. The question isn't, should I buy or do arbitrage forever? The question is, which one gets you cash flow first so you can actually build from there? And the math is pretty clear on that. So here's the honest answer. With $115,000, buying a long-term rental gives you $300 a month. Best case, that's 3.1% return. One asset. And every bit of that is one repair bill away from wiping out. Arbitrage with the same $115,000 gives you 5 properties, $12,500 a month on the conservative end, and 130% cash on cash return. That's why I chose arbitrage. Not because buying is bad, but because cash flow first is a smarter way to start and the numbers back it up. If you want to go deeper on how to actually build this, finding properties, talking to landlords, getting your first unit live, I personally walk people through that in B&B Blueprints. Link is in the description. Drop a comment. Are you thinking about buying, arbitrage, or both? And if you want to see how to start Airbnb Arbitrage from scratch, I have a full breakdown. That video is right up there.